So I'm restarting my life at 31, and I'm scared. Really fucking scared. 2 days ago, I booked a flight to Barcelona and stepped away from a relationship that means a lot to me in the hopes that we can find a way to go together. I moved to Europe 5 years ago. I quit my job in the U.S. and it was my goal to pursue fragrance. I wanted to pursue this really amazing, beautiful, creative idea around olfactive anthropology and finding our shared heritage, our connection, and better understanding the Anthropocene era, the concept of scarcity and consumption through the lens of fragrance. I found it so interesting that there was a form of art, for a fine art for every sense, right? Tactical, we have theater. In culinary, we have food, we have visual art, and that our sense of smell had sort of been relegated to something super primal, super base, or cosmetic. Then COVID happened. I was in Venice, Italy at the time. And the crazy thing is, I had worked for the Red Cross when I was younger. I used to work in youth homelessness and harm reduction, so I was certified Red Cross. And so when you travel and you get a visa, you can check this box that says in the event of a crisis or a health emergency, like, would you volunteer your time? Of course, I hit yes. I checked yes because who wouldn't? And you don't expect a global pandemic. And so when it happened, I had a choice, right, of whether I was going to stay on the island not speaking Italian or whether I was going to go back. And I've been dealing with endometriosis and an immune disorder for the last couple of years. So the healthcare in America at the time just wasn't tenable. So I stayed. But the thing about an island during a global pandemic is, like, what do you do with unalived bodies? So I ended up kind of as this volunteer. We would pile up the bodies of unalived people in front of churches and port them onto boats in these big, heavy black plastic bags. But heavy, dark, yes. But I think as a result of that, I ended up in a very unique situation, which is, like, it's not easy to make friends with people in Venice. The families there are really old. Most people don't leave the island, and also it's almost colonized by tourism in a way. So I found myself in a unique position where my Italian was getting better, and I was actually able to not just make friends, but make family there. But I also needed to make money. And I had quit my job, and I was getting COVID relief, but it was barely enough to cover my living expenses. So I started a business with one of my friends in America called Hourglass that happened to be really successful around creative placemaking. It's changed kind of ethos a lot. Not necessarily ethos. We always have the same values, but it's changed, like, the work that it's done over the years. We used to work with companies specifically around innovation districts and placemaking. Now we do a bit more like digital infrastructure for small businesses. But when it first started, I was significantly more financially abundant. And we were doing these really fun contracts. We worked with an innovation district in Maine, Rock Row, just outside of Portland. We did a lot of really cool stuff. And during this time, I was also navigating, like, a really brutal breakup. So I'd met this person in Boston, this man, and he ended up getting transferred to Italy. He's Italian. And our relationship just became incredibly devastating. I mean, layers and layers of ongoing dishonesty. I was trying to explore non-monogamy at the time, but, put my desire for that on hold to be monogamous to him. We all know probably what happened there. I was cheating on with a person that shares the same name as me, who I also hosted in my house. Not like a little story. It was brutal. And mind you, during all this time, I'm in Italy. COVID's happening. We break up. We get back together a little bit after COVID. I moved to a different city, Torino. And our relationship's just deteriorating. It's just falling apart. It's getting so bad that we don't go days without fighting. There's, like, some new lie or thing discovered kind of every other week or so. I'm being called paranoid, but I'm finding evidence. You all know the story. So I moved to Berlin, and I'm looking for creative community, right? I'm looking for kind of a sense of belonging, a sense of, like, rootedness. But the city is so dry, and I have, like, two friends there that I really care about, but I just wasn't at a stage of my life that, like, I was desperately in need of community, if that makes sense, but I wasn't at a stage in my life where I could sustain it. And so when Berlin got too hard for me, after a trip to Greece where I ended up in a huge fight with that particular partner, I've been traveling a lot, I ended up moving to Barcelona. And during that time, I have also been in a foray in a new relationship. This is all over the span of 5 years, so take that with a grain of salt. I haven't been moving that quickly. But yeah, we did our first 9 months together here, and it was really hard. Like, we'd never really lived together. We'd always been a little bit at a distance, but so deeply in love, so deeply in love. I mean, poetry, dancing on the street in the rain, handwritten notes, blood oath, madly, deeply, wildly in love with this person. I still am. And this is the person I'm talking about now. That we needed to take some distance from each other. He definitely needs to do therapy, and I definitely need to work on the way that I overinvest as a way to obtain and retain love. But yeah, so I guess I'm like 5 years on the other side of this foray. There was a Jamila 5 years ago that quit their job, saved up their money, booked a flight, wanted to study fragrance, and I just feel so far away from that person. I'm a person that maps. I'm a person that likes order and organization. And I realize that obviously, like, your life exists in between the places on the map, and there needs to be grace for that. But I'm feeling a lot of resilient, like, resounding yeses from the universe. Like, resilient in the sense that, like, no matter how much I am in maybe an unhealthy pattern or an unhealthy mindset, I'm still getting, like, signs that I'm on the right path. For example, like, you guys are all here, and my TikTok following doubled in 1 month. So I went from like 17,000 to like 35,000 in a month. I started writing on Substack, and I got like almost 300 followers and paid subscribers. But the fact of the matter is, I'm at a place of restarting. Like, fully, I want to pursue creativity as the central component of my life. I want to make money on it. I was talking to my friend Nathan a couple weeks ago, who I owe a phone call to. But we were talking about the idea of like working class musician. Like, I'm saying it now. Like, I want to make money writing. I want to be allowed to talk with and support creatives and also sustain my life. I want to be able to eat. Right now, I'm at my friend works at this fabulous brunch restaurant, so she's letting me eat for free on her friends and family discount. But I don't know. I wanted to tell a little bit of my story. You know, it's a complicated thing, and I don't talk about my personal life on the internet. It's difficult because my family life is difficult. My upbringing was really non-traditional. I left the house really early when I was younger. I experienced homelessness and then turned around and ended up working for young people experiencing homelessness in like a 3-year period from when I was like 20 into being 24 as a consultant. I left the house before the age of 18. I went through a decade's worth of family estrangement, and I never know exactly how to reconcile the dirty details, if that makes sense, to the sort of the learnings. I feel like people want the learnings, and I also feel like I'm more comfortable offering kind of the fruit of the tree, if that makes sense. But anyway, it's the end of Black History Month, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about myself and do an exercise, a little bit of transparency. I don't know what you really want to know about me, but I'm really happy that you're here. I also want to say there's tons of ways that you can support my work if you're into that kind of thing. Making it a practice to be transparent, so I'm going to start with ways that you can financially support my work. If you know anybody that has access to wealth, or you do, I have a Venmo link. And I also have a Substack that you can subscribe to. I post like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm launching a podcast in April, so if you know any organizations or grant givers to fund that, it's really important to me that I'm able to pay people that I interview on this podcast. It's called the Broken Pedestal Society. You can read more about it on my Substack. And then if that's not something that's available to you, I started a YouTube channel to be able to monetize a little bit. So if that's something that you have capacity or account holding status for, you can follow me there. And then I have a bookshop.org link. So bookshop.org supports small bookstores. It does a lot of like financial infrastructure for them, and but I have an affiliates link there. It's the only affiliate link I have. For example, it's on Amazon. Sorry. So yeah, if you're interested in me and supporting my work, I would really appreciate it, because it's 31 years old. I am not financially stable. I do not have an apartment yet. And I'm really trying to lean into this as a life path, not just a hobby. So thank you.